he's not very intelligent and undoubtedly remains damaged by the early death of his mother, Diana. And he very foolishly blames the media for her, in his words, which is complete nonsense. But I think he loved the adulation. He loved it when he was being praised, especially when he was a soldier. But then he became criticized, firstly because he became drunk in public.
The whole description she does of the Portland hospital, the birth, that was completely fabricated. We all know.
Harry and Meghan Markle's surrogacy scandal has entered the mainstream media domain.
Tom, do you think Harry and Meghan are fast learning what they signed away when they took this Netflix big moolah? And I would say they signed away their credibility and their dignity.
Well, that's our view, but it's not theirs. They need the money, and they need it now more than ever because they've got no other source of income. So I think they're just stuck with the devil now. They're tied to Netflix, they're tied to their book, and all the criticism they're going to take means nothing because that's the only way they can earn their money.
But if she hasn't had the children herself or Harry hadn't been involved, then they can't be in the royal line. They have to have royal blood, those little ones. Without that, there's no chance of them becoming a member of the royal family.
No, I choose people who don't want to be written about on the whole, whose lives are shrouded in mystery, and they want to hide their secrets. And I just love digging away to find out what they don't want us to know.
People think her kids are fake. They think they're AI.
Absolutely. What we're really now seeing is that both of them, having posed as the victim for so long, are really the aggressors.
Had you hoped your children, Archie and Lilibet, would have had that you think they won't be able to now with this decision?
Well, for a start, the only time that I've come back to the UK is sadly for funerals or court cases.
In this case, about whether you think the birth was real, whether you think there was a surrogate, whether you think Meghan was wearing a moon bum, the fact is Harry and Meghan lied. Buckingham Palace lied on their behalf. There was a complete cover-up over the birth of Prince Archie.
Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, is marking her daughter Lilibet's 4th birthday by sharing some personal photographs. A rare sighting of a little girl seen in this picture with her father, Prince Harry, and now her mom. The child's face is partially covered as the royal couple is known to fiercely guard the privacy of their 2 children. On Instagram, Meghan wrote, "Happy birthday to our beautiful girl. 4 years ago today, she came into our lives, and the day is brighter and better because of it."
It was a dreadful thing to do and actually completely wrong. He is quite hard and harsh.
What Harry and Meghan once tried to shield from public view is now the very thing dragging them into one of their fiercest storms yet. Fresh chatter tied to Tom Bower's latest claims has pushed Archie and Lilibet right to the centre of a loud, messy and deeply personal royal firestorm. Questions about family privacy, public trust, and what the couple has or has not explained are now flying everywhere. And the backlash is getting harder to contain by the hour. From palace silence to fierce online debate, this story has turned into a full-on pressure cooker. What started as whispers in comment sections and forum threads has now grown into a much bigger fight over image, secrecy, and credibility. People are no longer just talking about old palace drama or brand deals gone bad. They are talking about Harry and Meghan's family story itself. And that is exactly why the temperature around this situation feels so intense right now. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle are back under the spotlight again, but not for the reasons they would want. This time the attention is not centred on Netflix, interviews, memoirs, or old royal grudges. The focus has shifted to their children.
I can't see a world in which I would be bringing my wife and children back to the UK at this point. And the things that they're going to miss is, well, everything. You know, I love my country. I always have done. Despite what some people in that country have done. So, you know, I miss the UK. I miss parts of the UK, of course I do.
The conversation, I'm told and I believe, was very early on in their relationship when Harry is bowled over by Meghan, is desperately in love, and already is talking about marriage, but long before their engagement is even announced, let alone they're married and she's pregnant. And he's sitting in Clarence House with then Prince Charles and Camilla. And Camilla just laughingly says, well, any child you'll have will probably have brown skin and ginger hair.
And that change alone has given this whole scandal a much heavier feel. Tom Bower has once again stirred debate, and his comments have sparked another wave of speculation from critics who believe too many details around the Sussex family have been tightly controlled for too long. Let's be honest, this is not being treated online like random gossip that will vanish in a day or two. The reason it keeps spreading is because critics say these questions did not appear out of nowhere. They claim the doubts grew over time from public appearances, timelines, carefully staged moments, and the steady way Harry and Meghan chose to reveal only certain parts of their private life. Because the couple worked so hard to protect their children from public intrusion, that same privacy is now being twisted into suspicion by people who believe secrecy always hides something bigger. That is where the tone of this whole story gets especially brutal. Across social media, video panels and gossip pages, people keep pushing the same sharp question.
And that's why I think, I think Tina is a great journalist, and perhaps she has inside information. I don't see how the Sussexes can give up both the Netflix and the book deal. They won't be living in a Montecito cottage. They're more likely living somewhere in downtown LA, in a little hovel. That's their problem. They're stuck now. But, you know, the truth is about them.
Then he wore a Nazi uniform at a party. Then he was wearing absolutely nothing in the nude at the party in Las Vegas. And he couldn't cope with the criticism because, in his view, he is a target. And it didn't help that his telephones were hacked by News International, Rupert Murdoch's group here in London.
What exactly has been hidden, and why was so much left unexplained? For an ordinary family, even asking something like that would feel way out of line. But for Harry and Meghan, whose critics already accuse them of packaging their lives like a public product, the speculation lands with even more force and creates even more noise. Now, to be fair, none of these explosive claims have been publicly proven, and that matters. But in the world of royal commentary, rumours do not need proof to spread. They only need enough smoke to get people clicking, talking, and connecting dots. Once that happens, every photo, every old interview, every timeline, and every missing detail starts getting re-examined like it is part of some giant puzzle. That is exactly what is happening here, and it is why the story is getting messier instead of fading away. Some of the loudest critics have tried to frame the issue around surrogacy rumours and biological questions, but those are serious personal matters and should not be tossed around like cheap gossip. Even so, that has not stopped the internet from running wild with it. In royal conversations, the words family, lineage, and succession always create extra drama because those subjects touch the very image of the monarchy.
I choose people who don't want to be written about on the whole, whose lives are shrouded in mystery, and they want to hide their secrets, and I just love digging away to find out what they don't want us to know. I wrote 4 years ago a book about Prince Charles, and it was a story about how he had rehabilitated himself after Diana's death, and how Camilla also had to be rehabilitated. And it was a #1. It was a fascinating story. So when Meghan came along into the scene, I just thought, this is fascinating. How is this going to play out? To tell the truth, I spoke to very few friends of Meghan because she put a fatwa on anyone talking to me who she could. So I sent off dozens and dozens of emails to her friends, and most of them didn't even reply. And obviously I spoke to her father, who loves her still very much, and said, you know, in the end, whatever she is, she's still my daughter.
So when speculation starts circling those themes, the reaction becomes louder, uglier, and far more relentless than normal celebrity talk. And right in the middle of this chaos stands Prince Harry. The prince, who was once seen as the fun, cheeky, more relatable royal, is now being portrayed in a much rougher light. Online, he is getting hit from every angle, turned into reaction memes, dragged in comment sections, and described by critics as either unaware, trapped, or way too deep in a mess he cannot control. The public image has shifted hard, and it is not doing him any favours at all. Reports and commentary coming out of Montecito paint a tense picture, whether fully accurate or not. They describe Harry as under pressure, consumed by the non-stop headlines, and struggling with the endless churn of public suspicion. That image may be shaped by gossip, but it is still the one gaining traction. And once a narrative like that catches on, it becomes very hard to slow down. every new story feeds the last one, and before long the whole thing starts looking like a pile-up nobody can stop. The irony is hard to miss, and that is part of what makes this so uncomfortable to watch. Harry has spoken openly for years about trauma, grief, mental health, and the emotional damage caused by public cruelty. Now he is the one being publicly framed as overwhelmed, cornered, and unraveling under pressure. Whether that portrayal is fair or not, it has become part of the conversation, and it adds another painful layer to a story that already feels deeply personal. Then there is Meghan, and the way critics say she is handling the whole mess. The picture being painted of her is colder, sharper, and much more calculated. No public breakdowns. No emotional interviews, no panicked scrambling in front of cameras. Instead, the rumour mill describes legal warnings, aggressive damage control, tightly managed silence, and a determination to say as little as possible while the storm rages around them. That approach may be strategic, but to critics, it only makes her seem more guarded and more suspicious. Here is the twist, though. And it is a nasty one. The harder Harry and Meghan appear to clamp down on the noise, the more the noise grows. Every rumour of legal threats, every whisper about cease and desist letters, every sign that their team wants the topic crushed just seems to make people dig deeper. It becomes a cycle that feeds itself. The public starts assuming that if something is being protected this fiercely, then maybe there must be more to uncover, and that is exactly how these scandals grow teeth. Critics keep returning to the same set of talking points because they think those details suddenly look different when lined up together. They mention staged-looking pregnancy photos, fuzzy timelines, unusual public rollouts, limited family visibility, and a family story that often seemed polished down to the smallest detail. Fair or unfair, those are the things being replayed over and over by people who say the Sussex narrative has always felt a little too neat, and once the public starts seeing a story as overly polished, suspicion can explode fast. That is why this moment feels so dangerous for the Sussex brand. Harry and Meghan built their post-royal image around freedom, healing, family protection, and breaking away from a toxic machine. It was supposed to be a story about reclaiming peace and choosing a healthier life. But now critics are trying to flip that same narrative on its head. They argue that the couple did not create clarity, they created mystery, and that mystery is now turning against them in the worst possible way. Whether someone believes Tom Bower's claims, dismisses them, or sits somewhere in the middle, one thing is clear: silence is not calming this down. If anything, the lack of a strong public answer is making the entire thing feel louder. In the internet age, silence does not always read as dignity. Sometimes it gets read as fear, strategy, or weakness, and that is exactly what is fueling the current reaction. The less that gets said, the more people fill in the blanks themselves. Then there is another issue critics keep bringing up, and it has become one of the biggest talking points of all. Archie and Lilibet have remained largely separate from the public-facing royal family, and that distance has fueled endless speculation. People compare it to the visible, well-documented moments shared by Prince William and Catherine's children with senior royals. They point to public family gatherings, balcony appearances, and warm official images. Then, they look at Harry and Meghan's side and see almost none of that, which only adds more fuel to the chatter. No widely shared public bonding moments, no cozy royal snapshots, no easy visuals to quiet the doubters. That absence may simply reflect geography, strained relationships, and the Sussexes' clear desire for privacy. But because there is so little to look at, people keep filling the gap with their own assumptions. And in royal gossip culture, assumptions spread like wildfire. A lack of images becomes a theory. A lack of comment becomes a clue. A private choice becomes a public obsession. That is what makes the whole thing so volatile. What should be a matter of family privacy has turned into a public test of trust, and the pressure keeps building. Some people say the palace knows more than it is saying. Others say the palace wants nothing to do with the mess at all. Either way, the silence from all sides has created a vacuum. And that vacuum has been swallowed up by social media theories, panel show shouting matches, and non-stop gossip content that keeps the whole machine running. And do not overlook the person helping drive this storm forward: Tom Bower. He is not seen by his audience as just another random gossip voice chasing clicks for easy views. He carries a reputation for digging into uncomfortable territory and saying the things others are too careful to say. That reputation alone gives his comments more punch with people who already distrust Harry and Meghan. So when he raises a controversial issue, it spreads fast because many people assume he would not step into it unless he believed there was something there worth examining. Still, what makes this truly damaging is not only what Bauer has said, it is how little pushback the public believes it has seen from Harry and Meghan themselves. No strong statement, no direct answer, no clear effort to shut the door in a way critics cannot easily spin. That silence has become its own headline now. Every day it continues, more people ask the same thing. If the story is so false, why does the response feel so limited? That question alone keeps the speculation alive. Now the noise has grown from quiet threads into trending hashtags, viral clips, and studio debates that treat every old photo like evidence. Social media is full of people insisting that something does not add up, and they keep repeating that line until it starts sounding bigger than the facts themselves. This is how reputational crises blow up in real time. The volume becomes the story, the reaction becomes the proof, and the pressure becomes non-stop. From a public relations angle, this is ugly, and there is no easy spin for it. The Sussex image was built around authenticity, healing, family loyalty, and a new life away from palace control. But critics are now attacking the very core of that brand. They are not just mocking a speech or tearing apart an interview. They are going after the family story itself. And once that happens, no glossy documentary, polished photo spread, or carefully scripted appearance can fully patch the damage. For Harry, that is where this cuts deepest of all. Fatherhood has been central to the way he explained his choices after stepping back from royal life. He has talked again and again about being a dad, about protecting his family, about creating a better future than the one he grew up with. That role has not just been part of his image, it has been the heart of it. So when critics target that part of his story, they are going after the identity he seems to value most. This is no longer just another tabloid fight or another round of ugly commentary. It has turned personal in the harshest way. The attacks now go straight at Harry's sense of self, at the story he has told about healing, family, and purpose. When a man builds his public redemption around being a father and a protector, and then the loudest critics start tearing into that role, the damage does not stop at headlines. It reaches into how he is seen, how he is judged, and how he may even see himself. That is why the final image being forced onto Harry right now feels so brutal and so unfairly sharp. This is the same man forever frozen in public memory as the boy who walked behind Diana's coffin, a figure tied to grief, pain, and survival. Yet in this new wave of commentary, that old image is being pushed aside and replaced with something much harsher. He is being recast in two deeply unflattering ways, as either a man who has no grip on what is happening around him, or a man who knows exactly what is going on and cannot escape the consequences of it. Right now, Prince Harry is being boxed into two ugly roles, and neither one makes him look good at all. In one version of the story, he looks like a naive husband being dragged along by Meghan's plan without any real control over where it leads. In the other, he looks like an active player in what critics keep describing as a royal-level cover-up. Neither image does him any favors. One makes him look weak and lost. The other makes him look calculating and dishonest. And worst of all, both versions leave him looking powerless, like a man who cannot even control the story around his own family. That is what makes this situation feel so brutal for Harry right now. The picture being painted out of Montecito is dark, tense, and messy. Commentators keep saying the mood inside the mansion feels heavy, like everything is fraying behind the scenes. Harry is reportedly glued to articles, gossip sites, and YouTube videos, watching strangers tear apart every photo, every timeline, and every claim tied to his children. Whether all of that is fully true or partly exaggerated, the image still hits hard because it makes him look consumed by the chaos and trapped inside a story he cannot stop. People close to the situation, at least according to the chatter, say Harry looks worn down and deeply rattled. They describe a man pacing rooms, snapping at staff, losing sleep, and slipping deeper into stress every day. You can almost picture the anxiety critics keep talking about, written all over his face. That is where the irony becomes impossible to ignore. Harry was once seen as the royal who openly spoke about therapy, trauma, and mental health. He was supposed to be the prince who broke the silence around emotional pain. But now, critics keep using that same image against him, saying he looks stuck in the exact spiral he once warned others about. Meanwhile, Meghan is being framed in a completely different light, and that contrast only makes the whole drama louder. While Harry is being painted as shaken and unraveling, Meghan is being described as cold, calculated, and strategic. The talk around her is all about lawyers, cease and desist letters, legal threats, and efforts to smother the story before it spreads even further. But here is the catch. Every legal move only seems to make the public more suspicious. The harder she appears to push back, the more critics act like she must be trying to bury something serious. Instead of killing the rumors, the response becomes part of the story itself. That is why the backlash keeps growing instead of cooling off. In the public mind, pressure can sometimes look less like confidence and more like panic. So every warning letter, every report about legal action, and every attempt to shut down the noise starts getting read as a sign that the story touched a nerve. Once people start thinking like that, every new reaction becomes fresh fuel for the fire. And when a scandal reaches that point, it gets much harder to control because the response creates as much buzz as the accusation. Then there is the palace silence, and many people say that may be the loudest part of all. No warm family photos, no visible support from King Charles, no easy public moments linking Archie and Lilibet to the senior royals. Not even the usual gestures royal watchers expect for children tied to the family. Critics keep comparing that to Prince William and Catherine's children, who have often been publicly embraced at major moments. The contrast feels sharp, and that is exactly why people keep asking whether the distance means more than the palace wants to admit. A growing theory says this distance is not punishment at all. It is protection. According to that line of thinking, the monarchy may have kept Harry and Meghan's children at arm's length on purpose, not out of anger, but to shield itself from a scandal it feared could explode later. And now, with Tom Bower's comments dragging all of this back into the spotlight, some people believe the palace is simply waiting it out, waiting for Harry and Meghan to address the pressure, or waiting for the whole thing to crack open on its own. If that idea ever gained wider traction, this would stop sounding like normal tabloid mess and start sounding like a full royal reckoning. Because once people start connecting this kind of controversy to the monarchy itself, the stakes get much bigger. Then it becomes a story about trust, image, legacy, and the institution's ability to protect its own credibility. That is why this issue feels so explosive. It is not just about Harry and Meghan anymore in the public conversation. It is about whether the wider royal machine knew something, ignored something, or simply wanted distance from the start. This story has clearly moved way past simple curiosity. It is no longer just gossip accounts, tabloids, or royal forums stirring up the noise. Mainstream media voices, commentators, and even long-time royal watchers are now asking the same question out loud. Will Harry and Meghan ever give a clear answer to shut this down? The fact that the question is being asked so openly at all shows how far the public mood has shifted. What once sounded like fringe chatter now sounds to many people like a full-blown credibility crisis. And that may be the most damaging part of all. In the eyes of their critics, Harry and Meghan had chance after chance to calm this story down earlier. They could have answered more clearly, addressed the odd gaps in a more direct way, or handled the speculation without so much silence and legal caution. Instead, they are seen as having doubled down on vagueness, and now that silence is no longer protecting them, it is sinking them in the court of public opinion. Silence does not look dignified anymore to the people attacking them. It no longer looks calm, noble, or above the mess. To critics, it now looks like avoidance. It looks like fear. It looks like a strategy that is backfiring badly. Every extra day without a stronger public answer makes the speculation louder, and every unanswered question starts sounding heavier than the last. That is how stories like this stop being gossip and start becoming part of a public identity. The saddest part is that the damage to Harry's image may already be deeper than people first realized. He was once praised as the bold, rebellious prince, Diana's son, the royal who dared to speak openly and walk away from the system. Now critics are describing him as isolated, unstable, and unsure of who he even is anymore. Even some of the people who once admired his courage are now being described as stepping back, unsure of the man he has become. That shift is brutal because it turns him from a symbol of resilience into a symbol of confusion. And the one thing Harry seemed to cling to most, fatherhood, is now being dragged into the center of the storm. That is what makes this hit so personally. Fatherhood was not just a chapter in his public image. It became his redemption story. It became his reason, his shield, and the explanation for why he broke from royal life. He told the world that being a father grounded him, changed him, and gave his life new purpose. So when critics start questioning that part of the story, they are not just attacking a public image, they are attacking the core of how he chose to define himself. Meghan, meanwhile, is being cast as the one still trying to keep control of the board. Critics say she is doing what she always does in a crisis, pushing hard, redirecting the narrative, and trying to contain the damage before it grows bigger. Reports say her lawyers are firing off letters and threatening legal action wherever they can. But here is the problem. Legal letters do not erase moral suspicion once it has already spread. If anything, they can make people feel even more convinced that they are onto something important. That is why every legal move seems to raise the heat instead of lowering it. And the public is not blind to the contrast, which makes the whole thing look even worse. People remember the glossy Netflix documentaries, the highly polished posts, and the speeches about honesty, healing, and breaking generational pain. So when that same couple now looks guarded, evasive, and unwilling to offer clarity, critics jump straight to calling it hypocrisy. Fair or unfair, that feeling is driving a huge part of the backlash. It makes people feel like they were sold a brand, not the full truth, and that kind of disillusionment spreads fast. Through all of this chaos, the royal family keeps its distance, and that silence keeps speaking louder by the day. Not one senior royal has stepped forward in any visible way to defend Harry and Meghan. No statement, no public reassurance, no quiet show of support. It feels like the institution has stepped back and left them to weather the storm alone. That makes the whole situation feel even more serious, because people naturally start asking why no one inside the palace wants to touch it. Some commentators now say Charles has likely been told to keep his distance because even a small show of support could backfire badly if the rumours keep growing. Whether that is true or not, it has added to the sense that contingency talk is getting louder behind the scenes. People are now speculating about legal risks, titles, succession questions, and the political fallout that could come if this controversy keeps growing. No official answers are being given, but the fact that people are even asking these questions shows how serious the public mood has become. What feels clear now is this: the Sussex fairy tale image is taking a heavy hit. The story of a prince and his modern duchess starting fresh, building a freer life, and stepping away from royal control is now being crushed under the weight of secrecy, suspicion, and non-stop doubt. The more they dodge the pressure, the heavier it all seems to come crashing down. And that is why the story keeps getting darker, louder, and harder for them to outrun. In the end, everything keeps coming back to one brutal choice in the public mind. Say more and try to win back some trust, or stay silent and let the suspicion keep growing. Because once questions like these attach themselves to a family story, they do not vanish quickly. They linger, they rot, they shape reputations, and over time, they can decide how history remembers the people caught in the middle of them. Harry and Meghan gambled everything on a story of freedom, honesty, and building a new future on their own terms. But now that story is being ripped apart by silence, suspicion, and one question that refuses to die. Is Harry just a man trapped in Meghan's web? Or is he standing right beside her in something much bigger? And what truth, if any, is still being kept out of sight. Most of all, the questions around Archie and Lilibet are not going away anytime soon, at least not in the eyes of the public. Until the pressure changes, those questions will keep hanging over the Sussexes and the monarchy like a storm cloud that refuses to move. What do you think? Drop your take in the comments. Hit